The views and opinions expressed in the Distracted Librarians podcast do not necessarily reflect those of Bloomfield Township Public Library, Bloomfield Community Television, the Birmingham Area Cable Board, or its producers or production staff.
Hello and welcome. We're the Distracted Librarians, your friendly neighborhood bookworms who can't resist the siren call of movies, video games, music, and everything else in the pop culture universe.
Think of this podcast as a digital campfire where we share our latest obsessions, analyze the hidden depths of our favorite distractions, and maybe rediscover the joy of reading in between.
So, if you're a fellow media junkie, a book lover, or someone looking for a fun, engaging escape from your daily grind, you've come to the right place.
Sit back, relax, and prepare to get delightfully distracted with us.
Hey everybody. On this episode of Distracted Librarians, we are going to talk about spooky animated films. I'm Nicole.
I'm Emily.
I'm Killian.
I'm Drew.
All right, well, spooky animated films.
We've been wanting to talk about this.
We've been wanting to talk about this.
We've had so many conversations about
this
things from our childhood.
This was one of the first topics that we picked when we decided we were going to start being like topical to the times in which the episodes are being released.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think straight up the first thing one of us said was, well, we need to do a spooky episode for Halloween.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
And there's nothing better than an animated film from our childhood to really get us in the spirit. Yes. It doesn't even have to necessarily be childhood films. Mm-hmm. I just want to clarify that because, I mean, there's a lot of spooky stuff out there. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. That's what kind of brought that up for me as I was thinking of, like, what really scarred me as a child.
Yep.
Well, and I think, too, like, I wonder if it's not so much that animated films are scary, although I do have some theories about why they are scary, particularly scary. But it's as far as like fearful concepts or fearful imagery, those are often the gateways as childhood to like that specific, like cartoons are for kids, and so there's a scary thing. Yeah, that's where you're gonna see it, rather than like you're not gonna watch The Shining when you're 3.
Right. Yeah, and sometimes it's not even meant to really be scary, or at least like I don't know if that's supposed to be scary, but it is anyway. Yeah. Like absolutely terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah. The weird things that a young brain can just suddenly be super freaked out by, that you look back and you're like, why was that scary? Mm-hmm. I don't understand.
But it was.
It was terrifying.
It was. Yeah. I think it's because of and this is like sort of like a harebrained theory, but I think it's because it can also be like our first exposure to the uncanny valley, you know, like where like animations or stop motion or claymation or whatever it is has that like it's rooted in like it's human, but it's not human. And it looks sort of like I can't fully interpret how it looks and it's weird. Like it's close to what humans are, but it's not. And I think your brain kind of like shorts out thinking it. And I think that because some animation is just like makes your skin crawl because it's like, I don't know why, but it looks wrong. It just looks wrong. And I think it's the uncanny valley, like approaching.
Yeah. And there are different types of animation too. So, you know, we have like the cartoon type the typical animated, like when you would watch a Disney movie back in the day.
Yeah, like drawn animation.
Yeah, the drawn animation. And then, you know, like claymation, which I have the same feeling about it too, because like I think
it's the jerky, not smooth. It's
I can't even spit it out. It's so terrifying.
It's just there's something like it doesn't look right. They don't move. I don't know. Sorry.
For me, it's the way that they move their lips around the words.
Yes. There's almost like a delay of like, it's exaggerated to really drive home the point of like whatever pronunciation is. I understand that, but like it doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. It's weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly Emily and I know that we think that claymation is probably scarier than the other. But what do you guys think?
I don't know about scarier than the other.
Okay.
But it's
I see where the unsettling comes from.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially because a lot of claymation is stop motion animation, mm-hmm. so that's where you get that like jerkiness from and that sort of thing. Like that's
great point. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there have been movies over time where there's something very unnatural that's happening in the scene. Mm-hmm. And so instead of it being, a realistic interpretation, they just cut to the claymation sort of like whatever. And I'm talking like Indiana Jones. Which one is it where his face melts?
Oh, gosh. Oh.
And the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Am I even doing
Ark of the Covenant?
Ark of the Covenant.
Oh, yes,
Ark of the
Covenant.
About it. He drinks from the wrong cup and his face melts. And it's claymation. I mean, it's like his eyeball pops out and it's all like,
it sure does.
It's all very weird. So like there are these moments in film where it just like cuts to that and you're like, oh gosh, something terrible is about to happen.
It's so funny that you bring up that exact thing because I think that was one of the first like adventure movies that I watched when I was in elementary school, which that scene has haunted me. Mm-hmm. And I remember being a child and being like, this is a bad thing to look at. Like it's not right. And it's terrifying.
Yes.
And it's
so good. It's terrifying and so good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about some films that we thought were creepy.
I just want to touch on this one because I think my story about it, I find it entertaining and ridiculous. There was this movie from when I was a kid that I had a VHS tape of called Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland. My grandmother must have bought it for me because my mother has no recollection of me having this movie because I watched it exactly once and it terrified me. And I never watched it again, and I was scared of the tape itself.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
I was a very easily scared child.
I feel that.
I have recently discovered that this is available on the internet, on streaming services. And I was like, cool, I'm totally going to watch this so I can actually figure this out.
Yeah.
I played it, but I was doing other things, and I did not pay any attention to it, did not catch any of it, and then I got stressed out trying to go back and watch, trying to actually sit down and watch it again. So I didn't actually get to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this relic of my childhood that I don't even know what about it scares me. Mm-hmm. 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 Is affecting my adult ability to sit down and watch this movie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
No, I know.
Yeah.
And so if anyone out there has any idea about what I'm so terrified of in this movie, please let me know. Because I don't know. I simply don't know.
I think, because when you brought this up, this is not a film that I'm familiar with, but other than by the title, but I looked at a couple of clips online to I was like, oh, this, what is this movie? For me, I only watched a little bit of it too because I started getting stressed out with the bigness of the body language of it. The expressions are very intense and there was some scene where they're all these policemen are all clamoring over each other, and it's just this very loud and boisterous, elbows all akimbo and running in this. And I was like, oh, I felt my blood pressure go up because I'm like, this is stressful. It's just so weird. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. It's creepy.
It's so I've seen stills from it and I still can't pinpoint what it was. Maybe I was just overwhelmed by it. Who knows? I was 6, I think.
Isn't one of the characters, now again, I don't know anything about this movie, but isn't one of the characters a clown? Or
oh geez,
is in clown style,
just asking for it.
Makeup
I have no
or something.
idea.
I don't know. Well, anyway, there's some sort of clown-esque being.
Nightmare fuel.
You say that, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, no, that's from watching Brave Little Toaster. There's actually a clown in that. God.
Okay, you have rung the bell on the Brave Little Toaster.
That's a segue.
Into Brave Little Toaster.
Okay, you have prefaced with your Little Nemo experience, my experience of the Brave Little Toaster. Now. The Brave Little Toaster, I loved this movie when I was 3 or 4 years old. I don't know why. And if you don't know what The Brave Little Toaster is, it came out in 1987. It's basically a story of anthropomorphic appliances who go on an exciting and zany adventure to find the adult man who used to be the little boy who grew up in the house that they now live in, alone by themselves. So they go on this adventure. It is full of nightmares and terror and sadness and suffering. I did the same thing. I tried to watch it when I was a teenager because I loved it when I was a kid. I got about halfway through, almost started crying, and I haven't started. I can't watch this movie. It is emotionally destructive. It is heartbreaking. It's about abandonment. It's terrible. There's clowns. There are radiators that scream and explode. There's like all kinds of weird. Peter Lorre is there, kind of.
Yay.
It's just so. I happily though, they never released it. The powers that be who like are affiliated with the Brave Little Toaster never released it for streaming. So unless you have it on DVD or VHS,
I do have it on DVD.
I have it on VHS. And so unless these copies, I have the original frightening VHS that I now
think
can't
I probably have the VHS somewhere.
Yeah, but what's nice is, I mean, I know it's probably on YouTube or something, but like once like everything collapses and we can't get Wi-Fi anymore, the film will die when all of the VHS tapes are gone. And that's probably a good thing because it's
Oh my god.
It's funny you say
It's
that.
terrifying.
Because,
It's awful.
Well, I could not bring myself to watch Little Nemo.
I'm getting heated.
I did watch The Brave Little Toaster.
And how did you feel afterwards, Killian?
Oh my god. One, I have no recollection of watching it as a child. I know I did. I also know that I watched it with some friends in someone's dorm room my sophomore year of college.
That's a very college thing to do.
It is.
I have no recollection from watching it then. That being said, I sat down and I watched it, and I'm like, yes, I remember so much of this. Like, so much of this has been locked away in my brain.
Yeah.
And I think my brain was just protecting me.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's a whole scene that I'm like, this is staged like a scene from Criminal Minds, like a murder scene from Criminal Minds.
Oh, I know the scene you're talking about.
And I hate this. It is this weird combination of Toy Story and Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's appliances. And, like, okay, I never bought into, oh my God, Toy Story is the greatest thing ever, because it freaked me out too.
Yes.
I want to talk about that.
Okay.
But Homeward Bound also messes me up in a very different way.
Oh, yeah.
Because that movie will make me sob every time. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while I'm scrolling through TikTok and someone has decided to throw the closing scene of that onto TikTok and I start sobbing uncontrollably.
Yep.
But the junkyard scene.
Nope.
I'm
No.
like, this whole scene
No.
is the entire reason that so many millennials have so many problems.
I just felt my body like break out in the galvanic skin response.
Yep.
I can't. I think what is particularly bad about the Brave Little Toaster is everything. It is so bleak. It is forlorn and dark. It is full of sadness. However, I think that there's two things going on with it. Number one, all of the animations are so cute. Mm-hmm. They're adorable.
It's very
they're
misleading.
They're either horrible and awful and like everything's fine. Just kidding. Like I'm gonna try to kill you or whatever. But the little protagonists are so like wee and so dear and
Even
so
the grumpy
riddled with
vacuum cleaner.
yes, even Kirby. They are like riddled with human emotions and anxiety and sadness and suffering, but they're so adorable and it activates that like protective instinct because they're cute. You don't want anything bad to happen to them.
Yeah.
But also there's always a lamp in your house or your vacuum and it's very easy to look and be like, I too have a Kirby vacuum. Like Lampy the lamp, that exact lamp was and still is in my dad's workroom in the basement. So I lived with Lampy.
Oh my
You know what I
goodness.
mean? Like
Yeah.
you can so easily, I think, like attach whatever emotion is happening onto the appliances you actually see in your, at least like in my like Midwestern suburban life, it makes it so real.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know.
My all caps note. Who decided children needed this?
That is
because I was
genuinely. If we can take, and then I won't rant about the Brave Little Toaster further, but if anyone can take anything away from this, please do not show this to your children. I'm not joking. It is so sad. It is.
I considered showing it to my children, but after the conversations that we have had,
it is scary.
I don't think it's going to happen until they're like 16.
Genuinely disturbing. And it does have some, like you're talking, Killian, about the junkyard scene. It has some themes in it that they're not kids' themes.
You don't even
I,
need
in
to
my
go.
mid-30s,
Yeah.
might have been traumatized by the junkyard scene.
Yes.
Okay,
And I'm
never
like,
mind. It's off. It's off.
yeah,
the,
it's just not. It's. I understand artistically what they were going for. I can completely, and I do think that as a story, I think that it is a well told story. Should anyone watch it? No.
Oh my god.
It is a masterpiece. But oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is a masterpiece of existential despair.
Wow.
I think one of the things that came for me most as a kid, and this is sort of a tangent off of Toy Story, is when it's a movie that is about like creatures
Yes.
where humans exist in the world as the antagonist. Mm-hmm. And those made me really uncomfortable about like my place in the world.
Oh, sure.
And Sid was one of the first examples of that in Toy Story, and how he would like manipulate and destroy all of the toys and give them scars, emotional and physical.
Right.
But one that has always like sat on my chest is Once Upon a Forest, and it was in that sort of peak like 90s pro-environmental Fern Gully Thumbelina world. Mm-hmm. But it's a movie about a cute little group of woodland creatures who are gathering and going to the school at the wizened old raccoon's house in the stump of a tree, and they're having a lovely time, and then all of a sudden the sun is blotted out and they are on the run from humans fumigating the forest.
Oh, geez.
Great.
And like the littlest girl in the school, who's the little sister of the main character, gets caught in the fumes and is like on the brink of death. And the rest of the movie is these kids going on their own forest adventure to like find the one root herb that will save this little girl. And I spend the entire movie like, I did this.
It's truly horrifying. That's another one that's on my list of things that like I don't like to think about this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fern Gully is on my list as well. I love Fern Gully as much as I hate The Brave Little Toaster. And Fern Gully, like, I love it so much that I was like reviewing some clips of it when we were talking about this episode, and I was like, oh, this is a core memory for me. Like, this is like I watched this yesterday. But Hexus, the bad guy, who does the same thing, like it's just like Hexus is the embodiment of like deforestation and meddling with nature, and he's Tim Curry, because Tim Curry was everywhere in the 90s. And Tim Curry somehow
should be.
Yes. And Tim Curry somehow has to come into everything that I say ever. So we have to reference him. It's just, I don't know. But he's like, Tim Curry is just so good at being scary. And he's just a normal seeming man, but he can do that scary
The voice. It's the voice.
And Hexus has this very scary, like, and at the animation, they have him like this like gloopy kind of, because he's basically like goes from being like an oil spill sort of thing to this like toxic waste kind of deal, and then this gigantic like final form bad guy that's huge, and it's this like skeletal death like with this like oil cloak that's like burning from the inside. It is like the most. It's like your sleep paralysis demon, and it's just so. It's not, you can't reason with it. It only wants destruction. And it's caused by human meddling. And it does make you think like this, when you're 4 years old, you're like, this couldn't happen, could it? And it's just like, oh, it absolutely can. And it absolutely has. And welcome to the human species.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason it's so scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that movie's awesome.
Definitely. I wanted to bring up Fantasia, which has all kinds of like lovely little nuggets of wonderfulness and ballet, hippos and doing ballet and so on and so forth.
Are my favorite.
Yeah.
And of course we can remember, Mickey Mouse and his little wizard's cap with brooms
Magician's
and
Apprentice,
bubbles and whatever else. But let's bring up Night on Bald Mountain.
Speaking of gigantic
Chernabog.
Chernabog.
scary figures, yeah, like rising over the landscape.
I mean, I remember watching that movie and thinking, oh, this is just going to be another one of those Disney movies where everything is so whimsical and whatever. And then Chernobog shows up and I'm like, this is amazing.
It is.
This is why I love heavy metal, because I feel like that whole part of that movie could just be to any heavy metal song ever and be just the perfect like music video.
It is. I remember you mentioned this, and then I looked it up, and I was like, "This is just cool. Like, it's cool. Like, it's. I mean, it's not, because there's like flying skeletons and stuff, which is scary. But also, the animation is cool.
Yes.
In addition to being like scary.
So my exposure to Chernobog, I've seen Fantasia maybe once or twice all the way through. Had it as a kid, was not a go-to movie for me.
It was not for me either, but going back, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. But Chernobog is one of the Disney characters that found their way into the Kingdom Hearts games. And so that is where my experience is. And I think that's why I'm like, yeah, this is just cool. Because my memories associated with Chernobog are fighting Chernobog with a giant key sword.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was cool. That was just fun.
Yeah.
But I can see how that would be scary, especially younger. I was too busy being scarred by Little Nemo, so.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and then just for reference, it's like this huge demon thing that kind of comes out of the ground, and then all of this chaos happens all around. Where, like Emily said, there's skeletons and
darkness
witches on
covers-
broomsticks, and everybody's
Darkness
flying around.
covers the land, and and the tiny village is just like, oh no,
Yeah.
It is cool.
It's pretty great.
I think it's less scary because you don't see as many like civilians actually affected by.
It's almost like you just woke up in a bad place.
Yeah, he doesn't come off as threat.
Right.
Because he's not threatening anything.
Yes.
He's just there being scary.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh, it's midnight, time to be scary. Like, he just, like, rises, is scary, and then morning comes, and he's like, all right, see you tomorrow. Like, it is cool.
This will forever be my mental image of how Chernobog works now. Thank you. I love it.
Awesome. We were watching Pee-wee's Adventure with my kids for the first time. And while that movie is not animated, there's a very important scene, which is animated, in which Large Marge, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but...
Oh, yes.
So Pee-wee gets into this semi-truck, and he's hitchhiking, and he's trying to get to the Alamo. And there's this woman truck driver that's beside him, and she's telling him the story. And at one point, she turns to look at him, and her face just like turns into this gigantic claymation thing, and her eyeballs like are out of her head, and her tongue's moving, and her hair is flying, and it's just.
I see it in my mind's
It's
eye.
such
I don't like that.
It's a jump scare, like no other jump scare.
Yeah.
My kids were. They still talk about it to this day. It is like, and I feel like that's my bad for like doing that trauma to them.
Yeah.
However, like we've watched it enough times now that it's no longer scary. It's just funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they just cackle like crazy people when they see it. But the first time we had some explaining to do.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's how that goes sometimes. I think that I feel similarly about like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is like half animation, half the characters are toons.
Yes, tunes.
And the guy who's I shouldn't have brought this up. I don't know anybody's name. I know Roger's name. The scary guy. He's like the judge or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like
I know what you're talking about.
And he's scary.
Oh yeah.
And he walks
He's
around
horrible.
being scary at
He
people.
takes tunes and he puts them in that black stuff, whatever that stuff
and then they
is,
melt,
and they
it's
just like
scary.
disappear.
Yeah, and then he by the end is all weird and his eyes are all weird and scary and he's being like, Drew, did it flash into your brain?
I have a different thing.
Oh, okay. Because did I prompt you?
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, it's a different movie.
No, I don't want to think about him anymore.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So there was this dinosaur movie in the mid-90s called We're Here,
Okay.
if anyone's seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I remember
Yeah.
its existence.
It's two brothers who exist outside of time.
Okay.
And one is the canonical good brother, one is the bad brother.
Sure.
And the good brother reaches back in time and adopts one of each dinosaur species one of each being, kids movies. There was 5 of them. But they had, the good guy had a magical like potion or cereal or something that they had. I think it was like a crunchy cereal type deal.
Magic cereal.
That they ate, and then the dinosaurs had like human cognitive abilities and a conscience and were people essentially.
And he thought this was a good idea because
History.
okay.
This is the most bizarre sounding thing I think I've ever heard.
It's a trip, and like they go to the Museum of Natural History and like see the dinosaur bones.
Oh, why would you do that?
They end up in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and everyone thinks they're balloons.
What?
And they sing like a song going down the street. It's really, really cute. But then the evil brother's circus comes to town, and he has his own version that can make anything into like its most feral state.
Okay.
And
is it also crunchy cereal?
no, his was, this was the part that Emily's story like brought this back. His was like a magical like essence that came out of the screw that he had to replace one of his eyeballs.
Jeez, oh Pete.
And he would like stare them down, and they would be encapsulated in this like magic tornado. And
I wish everyone could see Killian's face right now.
I don't like this.
And suddenly they were like thoughtless, raging animals again. And he could do that to like the kids who were helping the animals too, and turn them into like primates and angry, and it was terrifying.
I don't like it. I don't like it. No, I don't like it. That sounds
it was a lot.
Everything about it is very weird and scary.
I love that movie. I rewatched it like 3 or 4 years ago. It's a ride. It's a good time. But it's a lot.
It sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot.
Killian keeps shaking her head.
The other one, I'm trying to think of like other ones that are really, really scary that are less. You know what I was gonna say? Is there anything that's like wilder than that? I don't think so.
I think we can one up you here.
Weirder than.
Just the description is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean it's. Oh, I think that another one. This wasn't on my list, but it occurred to me when we were talking about claymation. Is Chicken Run.
Yeah.
Chicken Run. Now, I loved Chicken Run as a kid. I still love Chicken Run. It's great. But it is very much like when you're watching it when you grow up, you're like, oh, okay. It's very not, it does not have any degree of wildness, but it does have animals.
It's pretty bizarre. Yeah.
It is. It's pretty, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Ants was a weird one, too.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was in that weird era of like you'd have something that was Disney or Disney Pixar, we had Bug's Life.
Yeah.
And then you had something similar that someone else made. Mm-hmm. And Ants came out right around the same time. And I remember seeing that one. And I only have little bits and pieces of actual anything in my head around it.
Right.
But I remember being absolutely horrified watching it in theaters with my parents and my brother and just being like, why is this a movie?
Yeah. Why did they make this? And I think that is a good question when it comes to like, well, anything, but I think that, I guess a more philosophical question that's occurring to me is why did they make, why did we think that the Brave Little Toaster, what purpose did it serve? Or like what purpose did the dinosaur Macy's Parade
what's the moral of the story?
What niche
here?
did that fill in our collective consciousness that's like, yes, this is what we're bringing to the world? Like, having not seen it, I mean, maybe I would watch it and be like, yes, I agree. Like, but I mean, that's some of it is the intention of like, what is the intention behind the scary thing?
Mm-hmm. Money.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Well, a lot of these came out in the 80s and 90s in like the animated boom.
That's true.
Where I think they were just trying to tell as many stories as they could, frankly.
But I would like to know where these stories came from because honestly, the concepts are, for some of them, the very concept of it, even without the animation, horrifying.
Well, and I think to kind of mirror these two things, yes, where Fern Gully actually got some bad rap because they were like, this is a like environmental centered story, and they said, this is hand-drawn animation. How much paper did you use to create this, like this whole, film? Like, you know what I mean?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and so they were like, well, yeah, actually, like, but it was like how much was spent on this? How much, both financial and physical resources were spent telling this story, which is an important story, but when you think about it, like, how does that weigh out? I mean, but it was part of that, like, the boom of animation. So, and that's how it was done, admittedly, at the time. It was just like, well, we can't CGI this. CGI doesn't really exist in the same way yet, but it is, I mean, what is the use of fear? I mean, yeah, you can say that it tells a story, or it has a moral, or it, like, promotes an idea of, like, don't cry wolf, because then the wolf will eat you, or whatever, like stuff like, or like don't tell lies or whatever, like, and sometimes there's a moral, and then sometimes it's just scary, and you wonder, like, if it's just scary, why?
Yeah, I mean, because some movies, like, that's the purpose, right? Like, they're an animated movie for kids or otherwise that are meant to be scary, like Monster House or Frankenweenie. Like, these are animated films that we know for that purpose. But then, for Fantasia to just have this, like, this really crazy segment and out of nowhere, like, and I mean, that's not the purpose of the film. And I don't think anybody expected it really either.
Right. And I don't think that I should assume that every kid was as much as a wimp as I was. But,
I do think it's funny that the ones that are sticking with us aren't those that were, like, written to be spooky, the, like, Frankenweenies, the Legends of Sleepy Hollows, the things like that. It was the ones that are just weird and hit us wrong, and or hit us differently.
I think that's it, Drew. I think it's because the scary ones are rooted in a world that is scary. Yeah. Like, even in, like, The Nightmare Before Christmas, for example, there's, like,
what
Christmas
you're getting
Town
into.
and Halloween Town. Like, like, there's a pre-existing world where this is logical because of the way that the world works. Right. Like, dinosaurs. This is. But but in the context of, like, real life, we brought back some dinosaurs with magic cereal, and now we're in the Macy's parade. Like, there's no, even within, like, the real world context of this of the story that's being told, it still isn't, like, the answer is, why does this work? Because, but it's weird because there's no landscape where because is a reason.
Yeah.
And it is that sort of, like, situational uncanny valley, I guess, too.
Yeah. We would love to find out, like, what some of the ones are for y'all.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What traumatized you as a child? What was your brave little toaster? Like,
we'll do this episode again in a year with just fan submission.
Awesome. Yes. That sounds great. And plus, that gives us homework to do.
It does.
Because
actually.
I don't know about you guys, but I just, like, sat and watched clips from all of the movies that you guys suggested, and it was kind of a fun day. It was fun, and it was also like, why am I doing this to myself?
That part.
Exactly.
So, yeah, definitely. Okay, well, thank you for joining us for this episode of Distracted Librarians. We will see you next time. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Distracted Librarians.
If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to reach out to us at distracted@btpl.org.
Until then, keep those pages turning and those screens lighting up.
We'll catch you in the next episode.